back to the YouTube channel Pro Enzo Vids, and this is my round 26 NRL tips for 2023. So the second last round of the regular season, and obviously finals is just like the week after. So good to see. It's good to see, but it's a shame that these boys won't be there this year. But you know, we do hope for next year. But yeah, this should be a good round ahead. Hopefully, some games I'm looking forward to, in all honesty. And as always, I hope for a good round of footy. So let's just hope that's the case. You know, obviously last week I only got 4 out of 8, so not the best, and I'd like to be better with my tips in total. But yeah, they've been a bit inconsistent this year, so it doesn't help. But we'll see how I go this week. But the first game on the Thursday is Panthers and the Eels, and I'll get into my tip for that one right now. But before I do start, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as commenting your tips in the comment section down below. I'd love to see what everyone's tipping for the weekend. But until then, enjoy, and yeah, Panthers Eels preview. So yeah, on to the first game now. Panthers and the Eels taking on each other at Bluebet Stadium in Penrith. Obviously the Panthers are continuing to win games, and they are continuing to solidify their spot on top of the ladder with the Broncos and themselves definitely fighting for that minor premiership for the year. As for Parramatta though, yeah, I don't know. They've been really disappointing actually. That game last week against the Roosters was a game they were supposed to be up for, and you know, to fight for this season and still have a chance of making the 8. And they still are a slim chance of making it, even though I don't think they're going to make it, and hopefully not anyway. But yeah, they should have won that game last week, so it was an important one. But yeah, I don't know. If they lose this game, they're officially done for good. But if they win, then you know they're a slim chance with a bye next week, which I don't know if that helps anymore. But yeah, this should be an interesting game though. Looking at both sides, for the Panthers, Brian Toto is back after being rested, so Tom Jenkins goes to the reserves, and Mitch Kenny and Scott Sorensen remain sidelined. So Jack Cogger holds the number 9 jersey, and Zach Hosking lines up in the back row, and Isaac Tago is still out for leg injury. And for the Eels, Sean Lane returns from an elbow injury and has been named on the bench at the expense of Brendan Hands in the only change to the 17 that went down to the Roosters. He looked pretty easy. I'll tip the Panthers here 13+, but I guess Eels do have a bit of a tendency in turning up for games against the Panthers, I've noticed, but Penrith should be too good here. Penrith 13+, and first try. Let's back in Rango Man, Tyrone Peachy. On to the next game now, and this is the Warriors taking on the Dragons at Go Media Stadium in Auckland. So yeah, I was there last week, last Friday, and I will say it's a really nice stadium, and I actually do rate the stadium in general. I think it's a really nice ground. So yeah, I rate the Warriors home ground. It's really nice, and I've always wanted to go there. So experience alive with the fans. It was really special, I thought. So great stadium. But yeah, look, the Warriors, they're on an incredible winning streak. Definitely, you know, very hard to stop at the moment, and they are playing great footy, and it's real credit to Andrew Webster for getting that team to really perform to their best this year. And yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see a bit of a change like this happen with the Warriors playing so well. And as for the Dragons, yeah, look, they're just playing to avoid the wooden spoon, because I think them and the Tigers are locked in for that wooden spoon battle. So yeah, they're going to try and avoid it somehow. But looking at both teams, for the Warriors, T. Murray Martin has been named in the extended squad and is expected to return to the field this weekend for the first time since breaking his leg back in round 6 against the Knights. Mitch Barnett remains sidelined, and yeah, pretty much the same 17 for the Warriors as last week. And for the Dragons, Zach Lomax returns after being a late withdrawal last week with a shoulder injury. So Connor Mahalaisen has been named on the bench, but may come to the run-on side of Jacob Little going back to the bench as he did last week. Yep, my tip for this game, Warriors 13+, should be too good. And first try scorer, you know, it's hard to get back against him, so I'll go Dallin Martinez-Lesniak. Too good. On to the main game of Friday now. It is the Dolphins taking on the Cowboys at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. So obviously the last time when these two sides did play each other, the Dolphins had a big win over the Cowboys up in Townsville. So I guess the Cowboys would be desperate to not let that happen again. But look, Dolphins season's over, obviously. A tough loss to the Tigers last week at CommBank, but not much you can do now. But yeah, they're just playing for, I guess, pride of the Dolphins. And for the Cowboys, yeah, look, their season's still alive. They can still make the 8, and they still are within a chance. But it's not a clear chance, though. But if they win, then you never know. But it should be an interesting game either way. Looking at both sides, for the Dolphins, Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow is back from a head knock. So he returns to the fullback jersey, and Cody Nikorima returns to 5'8". And Isaiah Katoa goes to the reserves, and Corneli Lemuelu and Kenny Bromwich return from head knocks to bolster the pack. Herman Esiesi and Ewan Aiken shift to the bench. And for the Cowboys, Heilon Luki comes into the starting side with Jeremiah Nanai sidelined by a shoulder injury. And the new man on the bench is Kuli Kefi Finafiliaki on the interchange. And in the back line, Zach Labour comes into the centres. And Murray Talangi pushes to the wing, and Semi Valame is out with a knee injury. So that's the teams for both Dolphins and Cowboys. My tip for this one, a bit of an upset. I tip the Dolphins here. I think Dolphins actually might win this one and might get up at Suncorp. I won't be shocked if the Cowboys did win, but I think Dolphins might have a real chance here. So, and they'll be hurting from that loss against the Tigers. So I reckon they'll bounce back in a big way. So Dolphins 1-12, but first try scorer for me will be Heilon Luki in the back row. On to the first game of Super Saturday now. It is the Storm taking on the Titans at Amy Park in Melbourne. So the last time these two sides played, Titans had a big upset over the Storm winning that game. And Storm were very vulnerable that day. They were not good at all. And Titans beat them up at Seabus in a high-scoring game. So, but this time I reckon it'll be a lot more tighter, though. I do believe that. Storm are playing for a top 4 spot. They want to make the top 4 and not finish any lower than 5th, obviously, for them. And for the Titans, their year's gone too, so they're just playing for pride at the same time. But, we'll see how this one pans out. Looking at both sides, for the Storm, Ryan Pappenhausen is actually close to making a return. He's listed among the reserves. And he could be a late inclusion on the bench. Who knows? But, yeah, he's getting very close to a return to first grade. Nelson Solomona has been named to start lock, and Josh King's out. And for the Titans, Jane Campbell dislocated patella, and Philip Sammy, I don't know why it says Phil, I've always said Philip, foot will miss the games. Veteran 5'8" Kieran Foran is back from a sternum injury. Joseph Fafita returns from an ankle in the wing position, vacated by Sammy. And the forward pack remains intact with Jamin Jolliffe named to start, and Isaac Liu on the bench, although they might swap on game day like they did last week. Going to back Melbourne here, 1-12 only, though I think the Storm might win in a closer one. And first try will be Youngton and Mapayo in the centres. But, yeah, I think Titans might actually fight here, but Storm should be too good. On to the second game now, Super Saturday. It is the Roosters taking on the Tigers at Allianz Stadium at 5:30 p.m. Roosters have found some form recently. They are looking a lot better and have found some, confidence within the team, and they're playing good footy. As for the Tigers, though, definitely the opposite. But that win against the Dolphins, I guess, is always a good thing for them because it's been a long time since they've won a game. So the Tigers will take that one, and they'll take it for sure because, they haven't won many games this year, so that's important for them, I guess. But Roosters are fighting for a top 8 spot, while the Tigers are fighting for a position other than the wooden spoon. They're going to have to try and fight with the Dragons to avoid it. But looking at both sides, for the Roosters, the big news is that Sam Walker is back. So Sam Walker returns at the halfback position for the club. So that's a pretty big in for them. It's his first game since round 9, so that's actually hard to believe. And Drew Hutchinson goes back to 18th man. Joey Amanu goes to the fullback position to replace James Tedesco from a head knock. Corey Allen comes in the centres, and Jared Oria-Hargraves is also back on deck, so Fletcher Baker moves to the bench. And for the Tigers, Api Korosia shifts back to hooker after being at halfback last week. And Will Smith is the new halfback, and Jake Simkin will miss the match under HIA protocols. Luke Brooks will remain sidelined with a calf injury, and he couldn't play his last game for the club before he comes to Manly. My tip for this game, I think Roosters will be way too good, and Roosters to win well. Chooks 13 plus, I reckon. Tigers have got nothing here, but wouldn't be shocked if they did put up a fight. But Roosters should honestly win this one pretty well. And I'll go Billy Smith for first try. And on to the final game of Super Saturday. It is the Raiders taking on the Broncos at GIO Stadium in Canberra. And yeah, when these two sides played back in round 6, I think it was, the Raiders actually defeated the Broncos in a really close game. But yeah, it was full of controversy though, because if you remember, Man Tapa'u did a tackle on Rapana that, or actually no, his knee went into Rapana's head and caused bad concussion and bleeding. So that was a really controversial game. But yeah, we'll see how this one goes this time around. But yeah, look, the Bronx, great form and obviously are playing great footy. Just needs to, I guess, win every game possible to somehow get in front of Penrith and get them on a premiership. And for the Raiders, they are also fighting for, I guess, spot in the top 8. But yeah, their form has not been as great, I don't think. The win against Bulldogs was, I guess, needed, but it wasn't anything special. But they'll take it, I suppose. But looking at both sides, for the Raiders, Jack Wyden has been named among the reserves as he looks to return from a hamstring injury. Alba Hopewadi Ribs has been named, but James Schiller could be called in the could be called in off the bench and should be and should the winger fail to come up, whatever that means. And Corey Horsburgh has also been named despite suffering a head knock against the Bulldogs, and Sebastian Chris is also in the extended squad as he needs to return from a hamstring injury. And for the Broncos, Adam Reynolds missed the game with a calf injury. His place is taken by Jock Madden. Corey Oates is returning from, I guess, his long-awaited injury. So, yeah, he'll play his 200th NRL game, which is great to see. So, Dean Mariner goes to the reserves, and Jesse Arthur's concussion is also back in contention and has been named as 18th man. And Corey Jensen has been added to the bench, while prop Man Tapa'u has served his suspension and is listed among the reserves. My tip for this game, Broncos should win. They should win, but without Reynolds in Canberra, I don't know, it could be a little bit tough, I reckon. But I'll go Broncos 1-12, and first try scorer, well, the 200th man should get a try, but I reckon he'll score the first, Corey Oates. Now on to Sunday Arvo footy, and the first game of 2, it is the Bulldogs taking on Manly, my team. And yeah, of course I'll be at this game too, so despite our season being gone, I'm still going to have and watch the boys either way. But yeah, Manly and the Bulldogs, yeah, look, when these two sides played in round 1, I was there too. We had a cracking win over them, so I'd love to think we can do that again, but we'll see what happens, I guess. We'll see what happens. Our form hasn't been, well, it's been better because we've been actually in games and competing, but haven't been able to isolate or just ice those moments, you know, that we need to do. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how we go this week, but win or lose, the best news is actually something else to do with this game, and I'm just over the moon that he's finally making his NRL debut. So I'll get into the teams now. But for the Bulldogs, just the one change this week. Kurt Morin added to the bench, and Jane Ockenball goes to 18th man. And for us, Manly, Ruben Garrick is out with a fractured back and could be out for the year. So Tolu Kola goes to fullback, Brad Parker coming into the centres, and Ben Travojevic is also back from a head knock. So Kelma Tuangi goes to the bench, and Josh Schuster to 18th man. And yes, he's on debut. Gordon Chan Kum Tong. About time. It's about time he makes his NRL debut. Fucking pumped, honestly, because it's been that long in the waiting for him to make his NRL debut. So, yeah, no, it's great news because I think he's definitely overdue for a debut, and he's going to get one on Sunday. So I hope he kills it, in all honesty. So my tip for this game, yeah, not going to go any other way other than tipping us. So I'll tip us 1-12 though, and a bit of a closer game than last time. And I'll go with Ray Vega for first try. And on to the final game of Sunday. It is the Knights taking on the Sharks at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. And, well, this should be a good game because Knights are obviously on a 7-game winning streak or whatever it is. And they are playing fantastic footy that they want to continue. And for the Sharks, yeah, well, look, their form has been a bit better recently too, despite having some games where they've been off a bit. But they've been playing a lot better. So I'm sure they will like to keep winning to keep their hopes alive, making the 8. I think if they win, they make the 8, and if Knights win, they make the 8. So one of these teams will make the 8 if they win. So very crucial game, very crucial. For the Knights, Jackson Hastings has been named to return after missing round 25 of an ankle injury. Adam Clune will drop out for Hastings, and that's the only change there for the Knights. For the Sharks, Craig Fitzgibbon goes with the same 7 as Hannah got the job done against the Cowboys. Oregon Kafusi has been named among the reserves as he works his way back from a finger injury. Yeah, my tip for this game, gosh, it's tough. It's tough because I really don't know who to really go with here fully, but I have to pick one. And I'm going to pick the Knights to win here. So the Knights will lock in a top 8 spot for me after this game. And I know it's a bit tough to tell, but I think Knights will be a bit too good. So Newey by 10, 1-12, and first try Callum Ponga because he's the man at the moment. Ponga's playing fantastic footy, and I can only see him, continuing to guide the Knights to the finals. But that's my tips right there for round 26 of the NRL. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment your tips in the comment section down below. Enjoy your weekend of footy, everyone.